Your brain is the most complex object in the known universe. It contains roughly 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others, forming a network so dense that it makes the internet look like a child's toy. It gave you language, art, science, and the ability to ask questions about itself. It's the reason you're watching this video. But it came at a cost your body is still paying, a cost your species has been paying for millions of years. And if you don't know what it is, you might be missing the most important trade-off in human history. Let's start with the obvious one. Your brain is hungry, really hungry. It makes up about 2% of your body weight, but it consumes roughly 20% of your body's energy. That's 10 times more energy per pound than any other organ in your body. Just sitting here, doing nothing, your brain is burning through calories like a furnace. Running, thinking, problem solving, that number goes even higher. So where does all that energy come from? Food, obviously, but here's the catch. You can't just eat leaves and grass like a gorilla. Gorillas have massive digestive systems designed to extract every last calorie from plant matter. They spend hours chewing and fermenting. You can't do that. Because your brain isn't the only thing that got bigger, your gut got smaller. It's a trade-off. More brain means less gut. And less gut means you need higher quality food, more calories per bite. Meat, marrow, fat, tubers. Things you have to work for. Things you have to hunt, or dig, or cook. And cooking, that's its own story. Cooking is pre-digestion. It breaks down food before it enters your body, making calories easier to absorb. Some scientists believe that without cooking, our brains never would have gotten this big. But cooking came with a cost too. It required fire, and fire required control, and control required planning, cooperation, and time. Your brain didn't just shrink your gut, it reshaped your entire body. Take childbirth. Your ancestors walked upright, which narrowed the pelvis. Then their brains got bigger, which made babies' heads bigger. You see the problem. Human childbirth is a biological compromise, a dangerous one. For most of human history, giving birth was one of the leading causes of death for women. Other animals don't have this problem. A horse gives birth in half an hour. The foal walks within the hour. You're completely helpless for years. Your brain is so big that you're effectively born premature. Otherwise, you wouldn't fit through the birth canal. That's why human babies are so underdeveloped compared to other animals. That's why they can't even hold up their own heads. That's the cost of the big brain. And then there's the problem of energy supply. This one's darker. Even today, scientists estimate that the global average calorie intake per person is around 2,800 calories a day. But in the Paleolithic, which is where your brain evolved, meat and fat were scarce. Early humans survived on scraps. They were scavengers, not hunters, for most of their history. They had to compete with lions, hyenas, and other predators for food. And they lost most of the time. An early human was more likely to be eaten than to eat. That's the environment where your brain evolved. It adapted to scarcity, to unpredictability, to famine. And now, you live in a world of abundance. Calories are cheap. Sugar is everywhere. Your brain didn't evolve to handle that. It evolved to see sugar as a precious resource, something to hoard. That's why you can't stop eating donuts. That's why obesity is a global crisis. Your brain is still running on Paleolithic software, trying to survive a famine that's never coming. The cost of your intelligence is that you're trapped in a mismatch between your biology and your environment. But the costs aren't just physical, they're psychological. Consciousness, as far as we know, is uniquely human. And with consciousness came something else, the awareness of your own mortality. No other animal knows it's going to die. They don't lie awake at night wondering what happens after death. They don't build religions to cope with the terror of non-existence. We do, all of us. We are the only species walking around with the full knowledge that one day we'll stop existing. And that knowledge has driven us to despair, to madness, to war. It's the price of self-awareness. And then there's the social cost. Your big brain made you social. It made you capable of language, of cooperation, of culture. But it also made you vulnerable. For most of human history, ostracization from your tribe meant death. Your brain evolved to be obsessed with reputation, with status, with what other people think of you. That's the cost of social intelligence. You care too much. You worry about what strangers think. You lie awake replaying conversations from years ago. Your brain is wired for social survival in a tribe of 150 people. But you live in a world of 8 billion. The software is outdated. The anxiety is a glitch in the system. Now there's another cost that almost nobody talks about, and it's one of the most profound. Your big brain allowed you to invent things, and those inventions gave you power. Power over nature, power over other species, power over each other. But that power has outpaced your evolutionary wiring. You're a hunter-gatherer in a nuclear age. You evolved to cooperate with your tribe, not to manage a global ecosystem. You're not evil, you're just mismatched. The environmental destruction, the pollution, the extinction of other species. It's not malice. It's a species that got too powerful, too fast for its own biological wiring to handle. And that leads to the strangest cost of all. Your big brain made you capable of asking questions. And the more you asked, the more you realized you don't know. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. You are a speck on a speck. Your existence is cosmically irrelevant, and you know it. The awareness of your own insignificance is uniquely human. No other animal has existential dread. No other animal feels small. You do. But here's where it gets even darker. Your big brain evolved not just to think, but to remember. And what does it remember? Pain, trauma, the bad stuff. It's a survival mechanism. If you remember the saber-toothed tiger, you survive. If you remember your failures, you learn. But that mechanism is overactive. You remember the embarrassing thing you said 10 years ago. You ruminate on past mistakes. You replay arguments you lost. Your brain is haunted by itself. And that's the price of memory. And then there's the beautiful ones. John Calhoun's Universe 25 experiment demonstrated something chilling. When mice were given everything they needed, food, water, comfort, they still died. Not from disease, not from aging. They died because they lost their purpose. They lost their roles. They became apathetic, withdrawn. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones, perfectly healthy, perfectly groomed, perfectly useless. So here you are. You have the most powerful brain on earth. You have the ability to understand the universe, to create art, to fall in love, to wonder. But that brain came at a cost. Physical weakness, metabolic hunger, painful childbirth, helpless infants, existential dread, social anxiety, environmental destruction, a haunted memory, and the constant gnawing feeling that you were built for a world that no longer exists. That's the hidden cost of big brains. That's the price of being you. But here's the thing. You can't put the brain back in the box. You can't evolve backwards. The cost is paid. It's non-refundable. So what do? You do what humans have always done. You adapt. You tell stories. You build things. You ask questions. You look for meaning. You try, against all odds, to make the cost worth it. Because that's the other side of the equation. Yes, the brain costs you, but it also gives you the ability to ask, is it worth it? And you're the only animal on Earth that can answer that question.